Hello, Tottenham fans. It's the morning after the horrendous night before. I've calmed down a little bit. Massive rant yesterday, deservedly so. The players were very, very poor last night. They just didn't give what we expected them to give in an FA Cup game. Yes, we can talk about injuries, we can talk about tiredness, but in the first minute, were they tired? Come on. Nobody put a tackle in the first minute, and that's what annoyed me the most. Just nobody put a tackle in. Anyway, I've done a video about that. Today I want to talk about where do Tottenham go from here. I want to talk about the manager, because I've been doing this channel for a year and a half now, and a lot of Spurs fans give me their solutions of what we can, should and shouldn't do. So I want to talk about the manager, the board, Enic. I want to talk about the players we have, the wage bill structure, the fans as a whole, our own mentality, the culture of this club. So let's talk about some of the solutions some of the fans have given me. And one of the solutions was get rid of Ange. Fine, great. We could get another manager in. Let's just say we did it today. Got a manager in. Maybe an uplift in form a little bit, and then it drops again. Levy won't back him. The board won't back him. The fans will turn on him. It will turn toxic again. We may even end up worse than we are now. You never know. The players could down tools. We could go through another season next season not winning anything, and we're back to square one. On the other hand, as well, what decent managers are out there at the moment? I can't name any, not really, that will come in and do any different with 13 available players, by the way. And that is a viable thing to say. No manager will come in and change anything right now. If we got a new manager in right now, is that fair on Ange? When all of our players are coming back, we get a new manager in and he starts winning. He looks like a really good manager. Ange looks crap, but he's got all the players available. Ange didn't. Maybe we should hold out longer just to see if there is a change. Because if we have a week's rest and play Man United and we play like we did yesterday against Aston Villa, then where's the excuses? We've got our players back. We've rested players. We've had a week's rest. There will be no excuses. Don't get me wrong. If we play brilliantly against Man United and lose, we play brilliantly, that's fine. But if we play terribly like we did yesterday, then I don't see any excuses. We've then got another week rest again, and I think we're away to Ipswich after that in the league. So let's see if there's a difference now, not playing in Europe and then playing Ipswich. Then after those two games, if we are still rubbish, playing rubbish with no energy, no pressing, no tackling, players not hiding, then we'll see. But getting a manager in now and then giving him all the squad to play with is just gonna paper over the cracks a little bit of what's already been happening. So the manager thing is fine. And also, let's look at the past. We've changed the manager for 24 years and it never changed. Nothing changed. We didn't win anything. The only time we ever got anywhere close to winning anything was Pochettino, and he was given the least amount of money out of any manager that we've ever had. He went 2 windows without even signing one player, and he got to a Champions League final. Now let that sink in. So even then, the board didn't back this manager. He was loved by the fans. He took us to a Champions League final. He took us to a cup final, a cup semi-final, 2 title challenges, and Levy didn't back him. Maybe that was the red flag that we should have listened to in the first place. Like, blindly thinking that Conte and Jose were doing it different, when Pochettino had everything where we needed to be and still weren't backed. So that just relates me onto the board. People say get rid of Enic. It's not as easy as that. They own Tottenham. You can't just tell someone to stop owning something. Yeah, you can protest, but the protests have to be massive. The protests have to be thousands and thousands, and it has to be constant, week on week protests. Not only that, you have to stop giving money to the club. You have to stop going to games. And this is affecting us as well as the club. We love watching our team. We want to go out. We want to take our kids there. We want to take our families there. We want a day out to support our club. We want to support our team. So it's going to affect us by doing that too. And some people don't want to do that. And also, if we got rid of the board, and let's say Enic left, everyone left, 100% was gone, apart from what the fans own. And then the new board came in and they said, we're not going to concentrate on football. We're going to concentrate on building wealth. It can happen because that's what Levy's doing already. What if it ends up worse? What if we don't sign any players for the first 2 or 3 years because they tell us we're just trying to level out the books that Levy left and give us some bullshit or whatever? Then we could be in a worse position. We might be in a better position. But at the moment, it's not working with Enic. They've been here for 24 years, and they do. We've had some good teams, but this is one thing I want to talk about Enic actually, and this will make you maybe wake up to Enic. When we had White Hart Lane, we were attracting Modric, Van der Vaart, Defoe, Klinsmann, like Sheringham. With the list goes on. Modric, with the list goes on of players that we were attracting. Berbatov, Keane, they all wanted to play for Spurs. These were all world-class players on their day. Like Keane was brilliant on his day, you know. Even Keane was world-class in my opinion. Like we had brilliant players at the club. So when we bought this shiny new stadium, we were told, you know, now we're going to compete with the big teams. We're going to compete at the top. We can compete financially. This is a game changer for Spurs. Yes, we're getting more money in, but we're not competing with the top. In fact, we've gone backwards since we've left White Hart Lane. We've actually got worse. We've regressed. We've got the lowest wage bill in the league now. Our chairman is the highest earner in the league. We pay the highest ticket prices in the league. For what? We're not getting anything in return. Like even in this January window, we needed solid, brilliant players to come in to up level this team, and we got 2 loans and a 12 million 21-year-old. It's they might turn out to be okay players, you know, but look at the team we had under Poch at White Hart Lane with Dembele, Dele Alli, Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, Toby, Yang, Lloris, Kane, Sonny, Ericsson. Look at our team now compared to that. And what we're doing is we're selling players, brilliant players, and not bringing in the same quality. What we're doing is buying the youth and hoping that they turn out as good as them. And we didn't do that before. Like when we bought Modric was already a really good player. He developed into a world-class player while he was at Spurs, but he wasn't like an 18-year-old. He was a good player. And Berbatov, very, very good player from Leverkusen. He was already a top player when we bought him. We just nurtured him and he became world-class. And that's what Spurs did. They bought very good players and turned them into world-class players. Now we're buying 18-year-olds and hoping that they turn into world-class players. And hope doesn't win you anything. So, you know, all this due diligence and all this stadium's going to win us things. It's just, it won't. So I think that what the board have done, they've created a culture. And now the culture of Spurs is to lose. And the culture starts from the top. They're not showing us that we should win things. They're not giving us the tools to say, right, we're giving you this, now you go out and win. When they got Jose and Conte in, and they tried to make out this is what we're doing to, you know, we want to win now sort of thing. But then they didn't give them anything to win with. Not only that, they sacked Jose before cup final. That makes sense. They sacked one of the best coaches at winning trophies before a cup final. I could not believe it. It's ridiculous what this culture of this club now is they've turned us into Spursy. They have turned us into a Spursy team, where like last night, where none of the players were putting tackles in. For me, that's weak. You're not putting tackles in. What are you doing? Are you too afraid to get injured or something? It was hard watch last night. The board are now, you know, the fans last night were shouting Levy out all throughout the game. Hopefully they're starting to take notice of this. The culture is poor. Changing managers won't work. Changing the board might not work either. It's just got to the lowest of the low, and it could get lower if we end up getting relegated. We won't this year, but if this carries on, it's possible. If it gets worse, if we sack this manager, get a worse manager in, an even bigger yes man, then we're screwed. I'm telling you, we're screwed. Is it the fans that are a problem? All we constantly do is fight each other, argue with each other, and one fan says, like me, no point sacking Ange. The other fan will say that I'm the problem. But then I will say you're the problem because you're slagging off all our players every day, and maybe that's denting their confidence. I know it shouldn't, but you don't know. Social media is very lethal sometimes. Look at Werner. Werner is gone. He does not have no confidence anymore. Is that down to us fans putting so much pressure on these players? For how long, I can't remember. When were Spurs a big club? We're a big club financially. We've got a stadium, the best facilities, but when have we been a big club winning wise? When? Because the only time, and I wasn't only just born then, by the way, was the early 80s when we was winning European competitions and cup competitions. 81, 82, 83. We were winning things, constantly. And in the 60s, when we were winning leagues and we won the first ever double, FA Cup and the league, we were a big side. Players wanted to come to us then. That's what it was. Players wanted to be at Spurs. And now it's like players will probably see it from the outside and say, that place is toxic. I do not want to go there. It might not be that we're not splashing out the cash for these players. Look how many times we got rejected, by the way, this window. It might be the fact that this culture of this club now, if we're shouting, the fans are shouting abuse out of their own players after another defeat, and outside players are looking at that going, I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. I ain't coming to this club. Managers don't want to come to this club. Players don't want to come to this club. We need to change the culture. That culture is only going to stop. It's only going to change from the top. It has to start from. Everybody needs to be a winner from the top all the way down to the bottom, from the board to the scouts, to the manager, to the fans. Everybody's got to be on the same wavelength. Everyone's got to say, like, this is Tottenham. We're bringing back the glory days, and we're going to do everything we can to do that. We're not going to leave any stone unturned. We're going to try and attract the best players. We're going to raise their wage bills. We're going to pay more money for these players. We're going to attract better players. We're going to start winning trophies. There's no assertiveness from this board to say, this is what we're going to do. It's always, we are looking at doing this. We are looking at doing that. We are building a stadium. We are putting concerts out. We're trying to follow PSR. I'm getting tired of all that. So when you throw at me, sack Ange, it may get better for a little while. It may. But it will revert back, and it will go back to this again. So, in my opinion, we've got a process now. He's got the players he wants mainly. There's still a few I think he doesn't want there, and we need to replace them. A rebuild does take a long, long time. Not for some managers, but for some they do. If he turns it around, then great. If he doesn't, and he's got all his players available, then yeah, we can have that conversation. But there's no point bringing in a manager right now and then saying to him, here's a full fit squad, do better than Ange, because of course he's going to. Any manager would. But tell me a manager with 13 fit players for 2 months that will have a run of winning games, and played in four different competitions, by the way. We have been since November. So it's not easy. Liverpool, like Ange pointed out yesterday, that Liverpool had put out their reserve players, which was an equivalent of what we would have put out, and they lost to Plymouth. They did it once, and we've been doing it for 2 or 3 months. So have to put, there is context into why we're losing so many games and why people are not putting tackles in and why people are not running back, and because we're shot. All the players are shot, the manager's shot, the fans are shocked, the fans are bewildered. We don't know what to do, you know. And the most frustrating part is none of us can find a real solution that will actually work, because from the top, they're losers. At the top, they've got a loser mentality when it comes to football. They've got a winning mentality when it comes to business, but a loser mentality when it comes to on the pitch. And that will drain down to everybody below them, and we will always keep losing as long as they're here. I'm not giving Enic no more money. I'm not going to any more games. I'm not going to buy no more merch. I'm not doing anything to... I'm not giving them any money. Nothing. And, you know, and if we want them gone, the whole world has to do that. Spurs fans around the world need to do that. But I can't see people doing that. I really can't. Not on a mass scale. I can see like a couple of thousand maybe do it, but not on a mass scale, week on, week out. Anyway, let me know what you think of this video today. I'm badly hurt by this club. I'm badly hurt, and I think all of you guys are too. Let me know what your solution is. What do you think, after everything I've said on this video about the board and about the manager and why it can't work and why it might work and what will happen and what we've been doing for 24 years? Let me know what your solution is. What would you do? Because this is the frustrating part for Spurs fans, because we're becoming a laughingstock now, and it's not good. We don't deserve that. We're loyal fans and we deserve better. Let me know in the comments what you think, and come on, you Spurs.